So you just received your paycheck and it's that magical time of the month or week. Maybe it's a Friday or whatever. But anyway, your paycheck hits your bank account and you get that nice healthy boost, right? And at this point, it's pretty tempting to splurge on all sorts of things, new J's, maybe going out to a nice restaurant, catching up on the latest movies, whatever the case is, right? But as quickly as the money comes in, it seems to somehow vanish into thin air, right? Now, this very common scenario begs the question, what should you do with your money when payday arrives, right? And I encountered this problem myself personally over many years of struggling financially and living paycheck to paycheck. But today I want to walk with you guys through 8 essential steps that you can use to help you to manage your money way more effectively as soon as you get paid. And actually, I would do this every time I got paid, all right? So basically, let's just start off with the basics, right? So before you can make any meaningful financial decisions, you got to understand where you stand financially, right? And a lot of people find this step daunting, right? It's a little bit, seems like a lot of work, but it's really not, right? So, basically, if you avoid this, it can actually end up burning you in the long run. So I want you guys to just fully understand and just digest this, because you're going to realize how powerful this is, right? So imagine you receive a lot of money, maybe a windfall. Let's just say you got a tax refund from the IRS, right? Now, normally you kind of feel like this is new money and it's, money that we can just blow, right? But in reality, it's not new money. Most people, and I used to look at it this way, when it came time for filing taxes, I'm going to get free money from the government. And it wasn't free money. It's just I paid too much in taxes and I got a refund. I got my money back, right? So a wise mentor of mine ended up educating me that if I'm getting a check back, then I'm giving the government a free 0% interest loan. Stop doing that, right? So anyway, you don't want to do this, and you definitely don't want to see this as free money. So don't fall for that trap. Now, to overcome this, take a minute, open up a spreadsheet, Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel, whatever you want to use. Maybe even just, a budgeting app. List all of your monthly expenses. And this was incredibly powerful for me. I used to live paycheck to paycheck, and this really opened my eyes, right? This includes your rent, your mortgage payments, your internet bills, your groceries, and of course, any kind of guilty pleasures, going out to eat, Chipotle here and there, grabbing pizza. If you're like me and you're into burgers and fries at Cheesecake Factory, you got to add all that stuff. Don't overlook anything, right? So once you got all your expenses listed, all your subscriptions, your Hulu, your Amazon Prime, your HBO Max, all that, Disney Plus. Anyway, add up all your expenses, and now it's time to trim the fat, right? And this is why it's so important to list everything, right? You want to delete the expenses that are not essential. And also, you got to ask yourself, do you really need everything that you're spending money on? And sometimes it's nothing more than a habit. So if you can cut back on anything that's not essential, it's going to help you out tremendously in the long run, especially if you were like me trying to get out of debt and trying to no longer live paycheck to paycheck, right? Because the goal is to identify the core essentials, which typically includes housing costs, rent, mortgage, groceries, utilities, internet, cell phone bill, stuff like that. Electricity, some people call it the light bill. It's your electricity bill. And of course, insurance, like insurance for your car, homeowners insurance, whatnot. So anyway, this figure becomes your financial, this is like your baseline. This is the absolute minimum that you need to be able to survive every single month. So ideally, you want to keep your financial baseline under 50% of your total income, which would allow you to be able to save 50% of your income, if you feel me, right? Now, when I first started out, I couldn't save more than 15, maybe 10% of my income because my expenses were so out of whack in comparison to my income. But as you move on, you want to be able to save more and more of a percentage of your income, and that's how you become financially free. Now, if it's higher, the goal is to be at 50%, right? You want to have your expenses be no more than 50% of your total income. Now, if it's higher, you definitely want to look for expenses that can help you to reduce that total number, right? Maybe you could downgrade your lifestyle, spend a little bit less here and there. Maybe renegotiate your cell phone plan, maybe your cable bill. Shop around for new insurance for your car, homeowners insurance. Maybe you could even refinance a loan or something. So you want to look at those things. But understanding your financial baseline is the first critical step toward financial stability. Now, one of the things I did to increase my income, or to increase my my financial standing, was by increasing my income, because reducing your expenses is only one side of the equation. If you can increase your income, that's the other side of the equation. So if you can do one or the other, you're winning. If you can do both, now you're excelling, right? So, you can work overtime, maybe get a higher paying job. I actually started multiple different side hustles, but one of the greatest side hustles I've ever discovered is literally starting a YouTube channel. And, I started Amazon businesses and other types of side hustles, but what I really liked about YouTube was that I could literally build a YouTube business without buying any kind of inventory. I literally started with my cell phone and built a multiple 5 and even 6-figure monthly income from YouTube from scratch. Now, it took a lot to, get started because I didn't know what I was doing at first, but now I've really kind of got it dialed in. So if you guys want to learn more about how you can get started starting your own YouTube business with minimal, almost probably nothing out of pocket, definitely check out the link down below in the description of this video. I shared with you guys my story on how I got started and how you can get started too, starting your own YouTube business. It's never too late. In fact, right now is a phenomenal opportunity, and I'm finding new opportunities on a regular basis. The next thing I will focus on is my emergency fund, right? So, you establish your financial baseline we talked about, right? But let's talk about something that every financially savvy individual has to have, which is an emergency fund. So think of it like a financial airbag or a safety net. It's this cushion that keeps you from falling into like a financial abyss whenever the unexpected hits, right? Now, of course, Murphy's Law indicates that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So rather than rely on, luck or your parents or your credit card to bail you out in an emergency, you want to make sure you have an emergency fund. And most financial analysts will suggest that you need to have at least 3 to 6 months expenses saved away. There is a recent financial study that I saw on I think it was Fortune magazine, and it said as much as almost 60% of Americans cannot afford an unexpected $1,000 expense. And a shocking nearly 25% of people don't even have an emergency fund at all. So that's one of the greatest pitfalls ever. You don't want to be stuck in a situation where you have to fall back on 30% interest rate credit cards, or having to get a cash advance, or even worse, a payday loan. So, just to kind of really drive home the importance of an emergency fund. I just want you guys to fully understand, how important this is. Now, a common guideline to aim for is 3 to 6 months. So let's just say your monthly expenses is $3,000 a month. If you want to hit a 3-month target of a 3-month emergency fund, you need $9,000 saved. If you're trying to hit that 6-month emergency fund, you're going to need more like $18,000 saved for emergencies. Now, I wouldn't go investing this money. This money is just money I want to keep safe and protected, and I'm not going to use it for anything that could put it at risk. This is my my fire extinguisher in case of emergency, so to speak, right? So this is not for, a sale on something at the mall or anything like that, right? Anyway, the next thing I'll be focusing on is paying off high interest credit card debt, right? Now, debt is the worst thing in the world to me, right? In most cases, if it's consumer debt, it's the worst. And it could literally be a financial anchor weighing you down and preventing you from achieving your financial goals. And it's striking that almost 80% of Americans are in debt, right? And this is a study that came out in 2023. And it's literally just become just such a normal thing that no one even really realizes how bad of a situation it is when you're in debt like that, right? But, a lot of times we accumulate debt by just buying crap that we don't need. Stunting on the gram, flexing on your friends, flexing on your neighbors, flexing on your coworkers. It's why? you're not winning. And who cares if someone thinks you're balling or not? Like, that is just so far from winning. In fact, you're literally falling for the trap, and you're going to end up being stuck in the matrix, so to speak, right? So, I don't personally need luxury clothes, expensive furniture in order to maintain a lifestyle that I can't afford. That is not what I'm trying to do. High interest credit card debt in particular, this is one of the worst kinds of debt. It's literally like trying to swim upstream. So, you got an extra, few $100s here and there. I would literally just start chunking away at getting that debt knocked out, hitting that side hustle extra hard, coming up with that extra money to get out of debt as quickly as possible. So that's definitely what I will be focusing on. And, you can use like the Dave Ramsey method, the Snowball method, where basically, you start knocking out the lowest total balance that you have out of all your debts, and then you start working your way toward the next highest balance. That's one strategy, which it does work psychologically because you can get wins faster, right? And then once you pay off one bill in its entirety and the credit card's paid off, then you can work on the next one and use more money that you have available toward knocking out the next one. Now, mathematically, it's not the fastest way. But some people like just getting those quick wins because you can knock out your smallest balance first. Be like, hey, I paid this one off and move on. But another way to do it, which is more mathematically faster and sound, is to knock out the credit card regardless of how big the balance is, based on how high the interest rate is. So whatever interest rate you have that is the highest interest rate, that's the interest rate debt that you want to knock out first. So you can look at either of those strategies. That is definitely what I will be doing, is looking to pay off debt. The next thing I'll be looking at is prioritizing my retirement savings. I'm talking about 401ks. Most jobs offer a 401k match, where it's like free money from your employer that will help contribute to your investments. And this is a faster path toward building wealth than just simply doing it on your own. And, retirement usually seems like it's so far away. Like, what is this retirement thing? Like, you think of like old people, but at the end of the day, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, you're going to get there. And it's going to happen sooner than you expected. But here's the other thing. If you're like me, you wanted to retire early. So I was like, number one, I didn't want to retire and like stop doing everything. Like, I like running businesses. I have multiple YouTube channels, and I enjoy running my YouTube businesses. And so my goal was to be able to just do more of what I want to do. If I want to just like spend time at the pool all day, or take a random trip with my family, to somewhere nice, I want to have the freedom and time flexibility to do that. And thanks to getting out of debt sooner and faster, and also building this wonderful YouTube business that I've built, I'm able to do that. And so I just want to help more people to be able to achieve the freedom, financial freedom, and lifestyle that they want to achieve as well. Most people could barely get 2 to 3 weeks away from their job a year. And if you think about it, you have 52 weeks in a year. You're dedicating 49 of your weeks to a job, and like, you're away from your friends and family for such a significant period of time. So for me, I didn't like that situation. I was looking for anything and everything that I could do to get out of that cycle as quickly as possible. Not to mention, I hated getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to work. I don't like getting up early, and I for damn sure don't like sitting in traffic for an hour each way. So that was my personal motivation. But I got to ask you guys, what's your personal motivation? What is your driving factor? What's your why that makes you want to get out of debt or achieve financial freedom? Because when you understand your why, it makes everything, every sacrifice you ever have to make, that much easier, right? And also, the sooner you can get out of debt, the sooner it makes sense to invest, because it doesn't make sense to invest in a stock market that might give you, say, 10, 11, 12% rate of return if you're paying credit card interest rates at 20%, 25%, 30%, right? And a very wise man by the name of Albert Einstein once said, he said, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, and he who doesn't pays it. So don't pay it. So anyway, now one of the primary vehicles for retirement savings in the United States is the 401k. Now, if your employer offers a 401k plan, you should highly consider participating in it. All right. Not only does it help you save for the future, but it also comes with added benefits such as, employer matching contributions, which is basically the free money I was telling you guys about. You could also potentially, depending upon if you're doing like a traditional 401k or if you're doing like a Roth 401k, it could actually lower the amount of taxes that you have to pay today and actually defer taxes on the investments that you're making. Now, if you're doing the Roth IRA or if you're doing a Roth 401k, it's slightly different. But ultimately, the way, employer matching kind of works like this. Like if you contribute a certain percentage of your salary to your 401k, then your employer will match that contribution up to a certain amount. Now, normally it's something like your employer might match you up to like 3% of your salary. So if you make like $100,000 a year and you contribute 3%, that's $3,000. Then your employer is going to match you $3,000. So you put in $3,000, your employer puts in $3,000. You got $6,000 in your bank account and you only had to put up $3,000. That's pretty dope. So, there's a lot of tax advantages and benefits of 401k contributions. Here's another advantage of contributing to your 401k. Like, it can lower your taxable income. So if you make $100,000 a year and you contribute 10% to your 401k, when tax season rolls around, then you'll only be taxed on $90,000 rather than the full $100,000. And this reduces your tax liability, and it's putting more money into your pocket. It's putting more money into your investment accounts rather than into the IRS's pocket. And this is what the rich understand. This is what the wealthy teach their kids. By maxing out your employer's match in your 401k, you're not only taking advantage of free money, but you're also optimizing your tax situation. And this is how you build wealth. This is how you get ahead, right? So also you want to contribute to your IRA, your Roth IRA, right? So there's a couple of different types of IRAs. There's SEP IRAs, there's Roth IRAs, there's traditional IRAs. But, while a 401k is a great retirement savings tool, it's not the only one, right? And so you got options. Now, another option is to consider is the Roth IRA. And so the Roth IRA is basically an IRA is an individual retirement account. And a Roth IRA offers some rather unique advantages compared to just the traditional regular retirement accounts, right? So with a Roth IRA, you contribute after-tax dollars, meaning you pay taxes on your income before you put your money into the account. Now, this might sound like a drawback, but it's actually a strength because it allows your contributions and your earnings to grow tax-free. So you don't have the headwind of tax being charged to your account every single year. That money can just compound and compound and compound and grow even faster and faster and faster. So the beauty of the Roth IRA, it lies in the tax benefits, right? So you won't pay taxes on the money that you would draw from your Roth IRA during retirement. So that's a massive advantage, right? Especially if you expect that your income and your tax rate might be higher in retirement, it's a big deal. So, unlike the regular IRAs, your traditional IRAs, and your regular 401ks, the Roth IRA allows you to withdraw your contributions, but not your earnings at any time without penalty. So you're not even locked in. That is huge. So this flexibility could be a lifesaver if you had an emergency. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just putting it out there for you guys. A lot of people don't realize that they could actually pull their initial investments out of their IRA, their Roth IRA. Now, of course, this is not tax advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just dropping some knowledge on you guys, personal experiences and whatnot. But also, I'd be investing in a taxable brokerage account, right? Because you can only put so much into your 401k. You can only put so much into an IRA. Investing usually conjures up, pictures of Wall Street traders, flagging papers in the air, screaming at each other. super high stress trading, but it's really not like that anymore. They don't really have trading floors like they did back in the day. Now it's pretty much like everybody's trading online and the trading floors are pretty much empty, right? But investing, it really doesn't have to be complicated like many people make it out to be. It's actually rather simple. And the basics, you can pick them up in like 15 minutes, right? Now, one of the most critical concepts in investing is compound interest, right? And again, this is Albert Einstein's eighth wonder of the world, right? Compound interest is what allows your money to grow over time. The stock market, on average, if you think about it, historically returns about 10% annually. Some years are higher, some years are lower, but that means that if your money is growing, if the stock market is returning 10% on average annually, then that means that your money can double every 10 years without you having to actively manage it. So this is a huge piece of knowledge that you guys need to fully digest and understand. So think about this. If you invest like $6,000 a year from the age 25 to 65 years old with an annual rate of return of 10%, you will end up with a total of $2.7 million. Isn't that crazy? Now, guys, this is the magic of compound interest at work. Now, on the flip side, if you choose not to invest and keep your money under your mattress, you'll end up with $240,000. And this is before inflation starts eating up and eroding your money. So I'm a huge fan of investing, if you guys hadn't noticed. SCHD, baby. Anyway, for those long-term subscribers, they know I'm a big fan of the Charles Schwab index fund, SCHD. But anyway, so let's talk about a currency that's even more valuable than your money. They say time is money. I disagree. I say time is greater than money. Time is the one resource you can't buy more of. And every waking moment of your life, you have less and less of it. And I want you guys to take that to heart. Facebook is a great reminder. It always shows you pictures from previous years. And, it's a reminder that time is going by. So the last thing you want to do is just always trade your time for money. And this is one of the reasons why I'm a huge fan of these, of running businesses, even especially semi-automated businesses, right? My YouTube business, like I mentioned, I have multiple YouTube channels. Some of my channels are faceless YouTube channels where I just manage them. I don't even appear on the YouTube channel. So these are these platforms, these different types of businesses, especially this YouTube business model, it allows me to get my time back because I don't have to actually sit there and trade my time for money. And this restores the opportunity cost that is normally lost with a 9-to-5 job. If you're sitting at work for 9 to 5 every single day, that's 40 hours at a minimum that you're losing every single day. And there's an opportunity cost that's associated with the time that you traded for those dollars. The time that you spend doing one thing is time that you can't spend doing something else, right? So, for example, let's just say you dedicate 3 hours every single day to, cutting the grass, right? So you're cutting the grass, you're trimming the bushes, you're lining up you're doing the edging, you're blowing the clippings and whatnot. You got to clean up, you got to put all the lawn equipment away. That's 3 hours wasted. And while these are necessary things that need to be done, you need to think about what else could you be doing with that time instead of cut the grass. So what I did one day, because I used to have to cut my grass, I ended up saying one day I want to be able to have enough money where I can budget paying for a landscaper to come and take care of my grass, right? Because I'm going to use these 3 hours instead of cutting my grass to build a YouTube business that will ultimately pay me way more than it is costing me to cut my grass. And that's literally what I did. Now, of course, if you guys want to learn more about that, I'm going to leave a link for you guys so you can learn how I got started with my YouTube business in the description down below of this video. Now, the key takeaway here is that your time is the most precious resource. And by minimizing the time, the time spent on things you don't really even like doing and redirecting it toward activities that actually generate you income or make you happy or brings you joy, you can gradually buy your time back to enjoy the things that you actually love, right? And if you take this principle and apply it consistently, it can lead to significant improvements in your financial and your personal life and your net worth, right? So, I think at this point, you pretty much learn how to create a very strong financial foundation, how to build an emergency fund, how to pay off high interest debt, how to save for retirement, how to invest wisely, and, how you should look at time in relationship to money, considering the opportunity cost, right? So, the next thing that I'd be looking at is how to automate things. And this is what I've done. A lot of people say, Ron, how do you maintain like a 800 plus credit score? Usually my credit score is somewhere between 820 and 850. And it'll usually fluctuate because I tend to use my credit every now and then. So it won't always be 850, but it doesn't have to be 850, right? Anyway, so one of the things is I never miss payments because I schedule a lot of things automatically, almost everything. So, and I say almost everything because my credit card bill will be different every single month. I have some regular expenses that get charged to my credit card, but they're not always the same because I use it for, different reasons. But what I do with my credit cards is I know my minimum payment will never be lower than a certain amount because I know I spend a certain amount every single month. So what I do is, and I don't know how many other people doing this, I literally set a automatic payment to pay my credit card twice a month. So this minimum payment that I schedule goes out twice a month. So what this does is it prevents me from ever forgetting to pay my credit card bill, and it makes it impossible to ever be late. It also keeps my credit utilization down on the credit card because I'm constantly reducing it. So I normally pay my credit card off twice a month. I normally do that. Pay the credit card off to a zero balance twice a month. But like I said, I also have these automatic payments that go toward it twice a month to make sure that if anything were to ever happen, if I ever got so busy I forgot to pay my credit card bill or pay a bill, they're automatically getting paid. Now, they may not pay the bill off entirely because it only sends I think I schedule like $100 every other week to pay the credit card bill. But what this does is it makes it so if something happened to me and I was in a hospital or something like that, or in a situation where I couldn't manage my finances, the bills are still getting paid, or at least they're making minimum payments on my behalf. So I can never be late. It helps reduce my credit utilization, and it's just a great thing to do. And so that's what I do. Direct deposit. Make sure your paychecks are automatically deposited into your checking account. I used to get paid a paper check, and I will go to the check cashing place and get, stretched by about 5% for paying this company to cash my checks. I don't do that kind of dumb stuff no more. Direct deposit. I create separate accounts, at least 2 new accounts, one for spending, one for savings. The spending account should cover your fixed monthly bills and your essential expenses like your groceries, your gas. I do automatic transfers, moving from checking accounts to my savings accounts, to my spending accounts, to my investment accounts. I've got discretionary spending. So basically, and I also set targets. And this goes in line with the budget, right? So I set spending targets for different kinds of non-essential expenses like eating out, entertainment, shopping, vacations. I even budget for Christmas so that when Christmas comes around, it's not like a surprise. I literally make like something like, I don't know how much I put in. It might be like $100 a month or maybe $150 a month. I put into an account every single month so that by the end of the year I have like $1,500 that I have allocated just for Christmas, so that I don't have to be like, oh man, Christmas is rolled around. How much money is it going to hit me for? I've already got at least $1,500 to take care of Christmas. If I got to add a little bit to it, that's cool. But at least I've pretty much allocated a budget and money set aside for Christmas, so I ain't got to worry about that. And Christmas time, a lot of people end up finding themselves in debt because they didn't plan for it. and then their New Year's resolutions are to get out of debt that they just put themselves in. So you ain't got to do all that, guys. Savings, right? So like your savings flow, like you want to channel this money into your savings account toward your financial goals. Maybe it's saving for a down payment on a house. Maybe it's a big vacation you want to take. Maybe it's building your emergency funds. But whatever the case is, make sure you start building, you start putting money away and channeling this money away into your savings account. So anyway, guys, I think that if you do this is what I did. If you do these things every time you get paid, you will inevitably be significantly better off financially and put yourself into the position to achieve financial freedom. Now, if you guys want to learn more about my YouTube business program, definitely check out the link in the description down below. I share my story. I share exactly how I got started, and I share exactly how you can get started in the link in the description down below this video. Hope you guys got value, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.